22.
You are watching Sports and Sorts live on YouTube. That's 75% sports, 25% sorts. And here are your hosts, Shane and the Bry Man.
What did I do? There we are. It is Monday at 9:55 a.m., 10-ish. I said we were going to go at 9:45-ish. So you split the difference and you get closer to 9:55. But we are here today on a Monday morning. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. Those things include the MLB.
Coronavirus.
Probably. I'm sure it'll come up at some point. It's coming up everywhere.
Literally.
So we will talk about the MLB, the NFL maybe. If there's any, I don't know if there's any CBA news. Brian Mann will fill us in on that. I don't think there is. Then we'll get into some NBA. We could talk about. I definitely want to talk about Zion versus LeBron, part 2. Great matchup last night. LeBron did some crazy things. Zion did some crazy things. But there's a particular person that I wanted to kind of but I wanted to definitely mention him because I think this is a game changer. And then we can maybe even get into the Rockets a little bit. They've been playing pretty darn well with this small ball. I said that I said originally, I didn't think it was going to work, but not necessarily in the regular season, that it was going to take its toll on them. But time will tell. So we'll get into that, and we'll definitely get into some sort of sorts, I'm sure, because we always talk some sort of sorts.
I would like to kick us off with a little bit of sorts. If you don't mind.
Really?
Well, I want to get.
I'm going to sort it out.
Listen.
Okay.
I want to. We have to listen. We got to talk about the coronavirus, but listen. I want to talk about it in the sense that last week there was a poll. 38% of people polled. This scares me more than the coronavirus. Okay, 38% of people polled said they will not drink Corona beer because they believe they will get the coronavirus. There was a 38%. Look it up. Guess who those fucking people are voting for? My God. This is the country we live in now. This is the really weird, fucked up Twitter world that we live in now.
Thanks for fixing your camera.
Yeah, I know. It was actually bothering me. I noticed I wasn't on center, and it was annoying. My OCD was just like, move camera slightly to right.
Good too. It was nice and seamless. Good job.
Yeah. It was like a slow pan.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, what is wrong with you people?
Oh, by the way, not suited for kids, not suited for work, because Brian already dropped the F-bomb.
Fuck your job, fuck work, whatever. Fuck your kids. Fuck the coronavirus. I was listening to the Howard Stern show this morning. They spent the first hour and about 16 or 17 minutes. First hour plus of his show was on the coronavirus. Howard Stern is freaking out. He's a germaphobe anyway, but he was freaking out.
America right now.
Yeah, I mean, really. But you know what was funny? He had a virologist come on, and the virologist, he didn't do a lot to, I think, kind of quell any of the fears here, because he was like, listen, he's like 50 to 60% of Americans are probably going to get this. He's like, however, he's like, in most cases, you probably won't even know you have it because it will manifest itself, very delicately. Like it'll be a cough or just a cold or anything. He's like, you might not even know and you'll just get over the symptoms. He's like, but then you're going to have the older population or the people with the compromised immune systems who are going to have problems. Yeah, I mean,
diabetics, people with like any kind of immune disease. But
my poor wife.
Regardless, wash your hands. Don't
20
make
seconds.
out with strangers. Don't eat out of buffets.
So
don't do stupid things during this time, and you'll probably be okay.
And here's the other thing. So the Surgeon General put this out this morning.
Let someone cough in your mouth. Like, just come on.
Right. So the Surgeon General said this morning. He told people, stop buying masks. It will not protect you from it. He said, in fact, you're actually more likely to get it if you put these masks on, because the masks are intended to prevent you from giving it to someone else. He's like, also, this is not an airborne disease. It's droplets. That's how you get it. You get it by somebody like coughing on you. It's that kind of thing. Now I actually have to get on a plane in a few weeks, and I have to tell you, I'm not terribly thrilled about it. I'm not traveling out of the country, but I'm still not entirely thrilled about it, especially now that there have been, I think the total was now there are 88 cases reported in the U.S. and even our neighboring state, Rhode Island, had its first had one. We haven't had it. We haven't had one in Connecticut yet. But
the great thing about living in America, we all complain about medical and all the stuff that goes wrong with it, the high deductible plans and how incredibly costly it is, and that is because you know what, we abused the system for a very long time, and we had these lower deductible plans that we abused, and we went to the doctor for stupid reasons and just abused it, and we didn't realize how much it actually costs to go do all these things, and that's what happened. And now we all have high deductible plans. So, and now we're going to the doctor more when we should be. But regardless, we have great medical care in the United States, and we can overcome this. Yes, there are going to be people that die. There's people that die from the flu every year because people don't get their flu shots.
The flu's killed a lot of people.
And that's something that is partly preventable because obviously the flu only protects one strand. They protect the biggest strand that's out there. And then, you can still get the flu, but, just go to the doctor, take care of yourself, and just go about life in a good way by not coughing on people and not letting people cough on you and washing your hands and doing things like that. Just be smart about life and you'll be okay in the long term. Yes, you might short term, you might be sick for a week and a half, but overall you should be fine.
I don't know about you, but I am a hand sanitizer whore.
I wash my hands all the time. They're so dry. I wash lotion everywhere because I wash my hands.
I do too.
Every 5 minutes. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I do too.
Sometimes I wash my hands, even when I put stuff like dishes into the dishwasher. I will then, even though it's my dish, but I got near other people's dishes that are in my family.
Right.
I still
don't even trust those
bastards.
I know. I don't even like the idea of
really weird about it.
Because we have all stainless steel appliances, which of course hold fingerprints like crazy. So every time I touch the refrigerator door or the dishwasher door, I'm like, ew. And then I have to wash my hands again. And also I pick my nose a lot, so I really need to wash my hands quite a bit. You're going to be thinking about that next time you come over the house. Like, wait a minute, I'm not shaking this fucking hand. He fucking picks his nose. Or at least he's the only one willing to talk about it. But seriously, man, I wash my hands constantly. We go through soap. You can't even imagine in this house. I mean, and then, yes, and I am so I went with a few friends on Saturday night to Foxwoods Casino to see Bert Kreischer, the comedian, also known as The Machine.
The Machine.
Unbelievably.
I think Chad saw him too.
Great show. It was such a great show.
The Chad.
I mean, so good. But it was.
He actually
was
he was on a talk show recently. I don't know if it was Joe Rogan or something. He was on something where he actually told a little bit more about the Machine story that hasn't been told. I didn't get to I didn't watch that yet, but I do have plans to watch that at some point. That story is hilarious.
The story is great, and he nuances it a bit too, and he'll pause and he'll do sidebars and stuff like that. His show was so great though. If you don't know who he is, Google him, YouTube him.
He has a podcast too.
He's so great. He has a podcast. Yeah. So fun.
I really enjoyed his podcast where him and Dane Cook sat down and talked. That was a good one. That was really good.
But anyways, check that out. But anyways, so the first thing I did when I got back into the car, no joke, me and my friends would get into the car and I go right into my glove compartment. I pull out the hand sanitizer and I'm just and I'm like, all right, who wants some? And they were all making fun of me because I had Bath and Body Works hand sanitizer. And it was a Halloween one called Perfect Pumpkin.
Of course it is.
They were laughing harder at that than they were. They're like, this was the funniest part of the night, and Bert Kreischer's show was amazing. But yeah. So seriously though, I'm all about the hand sanitizer. I'm all about the washing the hands. And this is the other thing we do every time, and I'm sure you do this too. I guarantee you do it. Every time we go to either a grocery store or Walmart, and they have the sanitizing wipes, We pull them out and we like wipe the cart handle down thoroughly. Whatever
Oh,
cart we
yeah.
grab, like
See,
thoroughly.
what I tend to do is if I don't do that, I grab one on my way out and like my hands. Anytime I touch, this is the other stupid thing, crazy thing that I do. Anytime I touch any of the chicken or any of the proteins,
Oh,
I put
God.
them into their bags and I keep them separate in their own little plastic bags. And then I go, as soon as I'm done with that, I go over to the front of the store, I grab a wipe and I clean my hand. And then I come
I don't
back
blame
out.
you. Oh, I don't blame you because you know that shit is, well, you got salmonella you're dealing with there. So, you know what's funny? We'll never know. We will no. See, we're not though, because you know what? We're preventive. Humans, especially nowadays, have a very preventative nature about them. And it's smart. You probably don't. The thing is, you'll never be able to calculate this because how can you calculate the times that you haven't gotten sick? But think of how many times, just because we do stuff like that, washing our hands the way we do, hand sanitizing, using those sanitizing wipes. Think about how many, God, I'm really getting old. Think about how many times we have probably prevented ourselves from getting ill. You know, like we may make fun of ourselves for doing it, but I can't imagine doing it any other way at this point. I really can't. Sure. So anyways, that was my coronavirus rant. If it was a rant, I don't really think it was. Like Shane said, just be smart. Take care of yourself. Wash your hands. You know, just be smart. Don't fucking cough in people's open mouths. I mean, that's just not right anyway. But it's just disgusting. You know what though? All joking aside, like I really do feel bad for people in China and Italy. This is a horrific pandemic. I mean, I know the numbers still technically say only like 2 to 3% of people who get it it's actually fatal. But hey, would you want to be part of that 2 to 3%? You're still talking about over 3,000 people who have passed away now because of this thing. It's legit. It's the closest thing we have to like a zombie apocalypse. You know, I mean, it's spreading and
it's pretty crazy. It's crazy. It's affecting everything, as I had told you before, like how it's been in the news and the stock market for weeks, and it is the S&P is down about 15 to somewhere between 15 and 18% over the last couple of weeks, and it has just been tanking and tanking, and it will continue to tank probably for I don't know, at least weeks, maybe months more. News is going to be bad for a while because this is affecting those businesses now. I think Disney closed all their parks in like China and stuff like that. They closed and they're not going to reopen until like, I think almost April is when they might reopen, but that's just, they're not even sure yet.
Yeah. I have a friend who,
you have a friend?
Yes. Met him. She actually has to go to the UK in a couple weeks, and she has like considered pulling out of the trip, but it would cost her like $4,000 because she had to put money down and everything, and because there's a big trip with like a lot of other people involved. But she's like, she even told me she's like one other family also pulled out and they lost like $4,000, and she's just like weighing what to do. She's like, you know, like that's how bad this has gotten. You know, I mean, and once it starts to spread more here in the States, I mean, my God, nobody's going to want to travel. People are just going to be like, if it's non-essential travel, forget it.
I mean, you see, like the cruise liners are way down, and I mean, obviously all flights and stuff like that because people are canceling stuff, and you know, it's just booking. You know, all the like TripAdvisor and all that kind of stuff. They're like, for obvious reasons. So yeah.
But don't worry, Globe, because Mike Pence is on the job, and he's gonna fix this.
The necromancer?
Yeah, Mike Pence is gonna fix this shit. You watch, it's gonna go away. Just like Trump says, when it gets warmer out, as soon as the sun comes out, the disease goes away.
Wait, it's supposed to be 52 degrees today. Is that warm enough? What's the temperature?
This will kill approximately. Wait, it's 52 degrees. It will kill 52% of the virus by the end of the day.
Wow,
that's what I'm saying. What?
So we need 100. We need a 100-degree day.
If you live in Arizona, no disease anywhere.
Ever.
Disease-free Arizona. Go there. Great place. Except for John McCain lived there, so don't go there.
Is there a Trump hotel there? Probably.
No.
Because then you can go stay at the Trump hotel where there's no disease.
Right. Disease-free.
Yeah. All right, that's pretty much it on the coronavirus.
That's pretty much all for our show. We'll see.
Pretty much. Yeah,
Right.
we got about 35 minutes left. Let's see what else we can get into. I do want to. I want to get into.
Zion.
Yeah. Because I wanted to touch about
Zion.
So we can get into the Rockets maybe a little bit. They've been playing well. They've been playing well. But like I had said before, I do think that this is more of a long-term issue than a short-term issue, because I think during the regular season, when teams are less playing defense and you're wearing out your body too early with the way that they're playing. And because they're not old. Like Harden and Russell aren't old, but they're not young. Right. They're getting NBA old. They're getting closer to NBA old than they are being young.
They're grizzled NBA veterans.
I do like the whole back and forth between Giannis and Harden. That is phenomenal. I liked it. I do agree with it a little bit. But at the same time, Harden, know your role. He's a really good player. You don't want to get on his bad side, because I'm guessing that he could probably beat you 1-on-5. Because he does that anyway.
I mean, Giannis is going to win the MVP again, most
probably,
likely.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I do like it because it does. I like the confidence, coming back and forth. You're not gonna. Yeah, I understand that you're good, but take a step back. I'm pretty darn good too. I do like that back and forth.
The only thing I didn't like about it was Harden saying that basically the only thing that Giannis does is dunk. Have you watched that guy play?
That's
not all he does.
It's a good portion of what he does, but he does a lot of other stuff. He's a good defender. Not a great defender. I don't think he's a great defender. But I can't say that I've watched him a ton because he's obviously not on my team. But yeah, I mean, I would say he's a good defender, great rebounder. He obviously can block shots.
Let's be honest. At this stage, if you were
honest with Giannis,
if you were starting a team, he would probably be the first guy you pick because LeBron is getting older. Although there wasn't much evidence of that in the round 2 game between him and Zion.
There has been no evidence all year that LeBron is getting any older. And I expect that this will continue for at least a couple more years.
He's just a freak. We are, and I am so glad.
He takes such good care of his body.
So glad that I got to see him play live because I never got to see Jordan, but I have seen LeBron, and I am so thankful for that. If you seriously, if you're an NBA fan and you love, even if you don't like LeBron, go see him live.
Didn't you like Dominique Wilkins?
No, that's Damian.
That's Damian. Okay.
Yeah.
So because I actually got to see Dominique live, which was fun, but he was in the Celtics uniform, so he wasn't as good.
Not seeing Jordan is, I would say, one of my top 5 sports regrets.
One of my favorite things to watch. I actually saw the Celtics play, and Kevin McHale, who I liked as a player. I thought he was obviously he's a Hall of Famer, but he was always overshadowed a little bit by the great one, Larry Bird. Larry Bird was amazing, but Kevin McHale. I saw Kevin McHale come down and just rain buckets. He was doing things that like LeBron does now. Back then, I saw him pull up from almost the hash mark and drain a 3. He scored like 40-something points that game. It was absolutely incredible to watch. I think Bird kind of only played about half the game because he was dealing with some back issues as he was. But it was an amazing game against the Hornets. But it's just so much fun to watch. And he was just a great defender and offense guy. He was just an amazing player, and it was really cool to watch.
That's actually a good segue into last night because didn't LeBron hit one from beyond the hash? It was practically at. He was one step over the half court line.
Yeah, he just pulled up and because they were down 3. They were down 3. Zion came down and scored a bucket and it put them up 3. And then he came down and shot from half court with plenty of time left on the clock.
It wasn't a time clock issue.
And it wasn't
just
even
I'm just going to shoot from here.
And it wasn't. He jumped up, shot it, and then started walking back because he knew it was good.
Yeah.
The dude is just
it's unreal.
Out of bounds.
Unbelievable. It was unreal. And a triple-double, so he had 35, 13, and 12.
Didn't he have 40
That's an huh?
I thought he had 40 last night, no?
No, 30. No. It was actually it was 34, 13, and 12. I think he had because Zion had 35 and 7.
Yeah. So Zion, and this is the thing, is that LeBron came out talked about how good Zion is, and he's like, he's a great player. The NBA is in good hands. All that kind of
it
stuff.
was a nice sort of patch the torchish kind of, but not really.
But no, not really, not yet. But I will say this, and this is about Zion, but I really feel like this is impacting another player even more, and that is Lonzo Ball, because this is the player that Lonzo Ball has always needed. He needed that kind of post guy that can run the floor and jump through the building.
Sure.
And they found it with Zion, and Lonzo his game has improved. And I believe it's because now they have someone that can really play to the style that he likes to play. And I feel like this is one of those things that's going to elevate him probably to an all-star in the near future. And I think he's going to be a much better player because of this.
Get ready for LeVar Part 2.0, guys.
I'm glad they haven't really been giving him much shine, because Lonzo hasn't been very good. And it's not like, what was it, Lonzo and his other brother, I don't remember, and there's LaMelo. But what's the other one? Lonzo,
LaMelo, and
we'll just call him the loser. Because he's not very good. He's not very good. He, was playing in like the G League and stuff like that, and just didn't really get much shine. But anyway, I really feel like this is going to be one of those things that's going to take Lonzo to like a 15.
Libido? It's libido.
15 and like 12 guy, and probably 15, 12 and like 6, because he can rebound the ball. He's going to get those double-digit assists that he hasn't been able to get. And this will help his scoring too, because Zion is more of the threat. So I think that this is going to be one of those things that's going to really help him out and really extend his career and actually elevate his career. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out as well.
I will tell you, there were some portions last night where I was watching Zion dunk, and it just reminded me so much of Shaq.
Oh.
Just the way he throws that ball down, like with authority.
Oh yeah,
he's mad at the rim.
Beast.
I mean, he is an animal.
And he's starting to use his right hand too, which is nice. He's not necessarily always finishing with his right hand, but he's at least spinning to his right hand sometimes. Because when you spin to your left all the time, not great. Because then you're noticeably doing the same thing.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound like, sacrilegious there by mentioning him and Shaq in the same breath. Let's be honest, we got a long way to go before we get. But if you look at what he's doing in these early stages, actually, didn't he what did he tie some? I can't remember. I saw him and Jordan mentioned in the same breath the other day, because he tied some rookie record that Jordan had set. It might have been like
25-point games in a row or something like that.
No, like 10 of his first 12 games, 20 points or more, or something like that. Maybe it was that. What do you think
chances are of him winning the Rookie of the Year with only probably having 37 games under his belt? Patrick Ewing was the only one that didn't play. He was the last one. I think he played 53 games and won the Rookie of the Year. I think it was Patrick Ewing. But 37 games, that would be that's a lot less. That's 16 games less than the other lowest person to get it.
This reminds me of that Gary Sanchez thing, remember?
Yeah.
But he did not win, and we both thought he should have.
But because of his numbers that he put up, he should have.
Yeah. But I bet you this pans out the same way. I bet you this pans out the same way.
Close, but now he's not going to get
it. Close, but won't get it, yeah.
All right, so that's pretty much it. I mean, did you want to say anything about the Rockets? Yeah, probably not. You're not a Rocket fan.
No, they're the enemy.
Kind of.
I mean, the Spurs don't really have any enemies this year. They're not good enough to have enemies.
Yeah. All right, so let's get on.
Average team.
We shall move on into baseball, and
the state of the Yankees.
Because we got some news. We were going to do our show last week. Brian was a little under the weather, so we weren't able to do it. But some news came out about our friend Luis Severino. And I don't think any of us ever... It's like... So I'm getting like texts from people, and they're like, oh my God, this is so crazy. Like, everybody's getting hurt. Oh, it's happening again. This is just out of ridiculous. I'm like, this is baseball now. You just got to take a step back, relax. It's baseball now. Every team deals with a crap load of injuries. Every pitcher is having Tommy John surgery at some point in their career. It's better to have it now than when he's, 28 or 29 and having to deal with it then, because then you're older and have to, He's getting it done now. It's not going to affect us that much. We got to the playoffs without him last year. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Now, would it be better if he was in our rotation? Of course. But every team has to deal with it. Every team has to deal with this. Paxton's injury prone. Half the players on our team are injury prone now. Judge, injury prone. Hicks, injury prone. Sanchez, injury prone. You know, Greg Bird, who was there for a long time, he was very injury prone. Ellsbury was there, injury prone. You know, you have everybody on this team has injuries. Andujar, you could label him as injury prone now because he missed basically a whole year with a shoulder. And we don't know how good he's going to come back. Stanton, injury
He's actually
prone.
looked pretty good, though.
Yeah, yes. Stanton, injury prone. Lots of people are injury prone. You know, you could even do a Aroldis Chapman. He's always dealing with injuries that he has to fight with. Britton is injury prone. Everybody, you could go through every team. They all have to deal with it. The Yankees are just lucky and fortunate enough to have a deep enough system to have the next man up. Even Clint Frazier, he's been dealing with injuries too. Now, it's just one of those things that you have to get over, deal with it, and just hope that the Yankees are prepared for it. And I feel that they are. Their rotation is deep enough. Happ and Montgomery should be able to step in and do good enough.
Happ's good early.
Yeah, and if Happ doesn't step up, you know what? Unfortunately, we have Domingo Germán, who's going to be coming back around the All-Star break, and we'll have him step in and play if Happ's not going to do well. But Montgomery looked good. Haps look good. I'm fine with the rotation right now.
It's too bad Clark Schmidt is not going to he won't make this team, which is unfortunate because
he's looked well.
He's a good looking player. Yeah. And he's already had Tommy John surgery, by the way. So, you know, he's probably gotten that out of the way.
Doesn't mean you can't have it again.
No, right. And if you have to have it again, you know, thoughts and prayers. That's a lot to come back from, I would think. But
Chris Carpenter did it a bunch of times.
I will tell you though, I understand what you're saying, but it's also very frustrating. I mean, I'm sorry,
frustrating, but
you have to be frustrated by this if you're.
I'm not frustrated at all
because it looks like I am.
I'm used to it.
This is 2 years in a row.
I can't be frustrated by things that happen every year. Otherwise, that's just crazy.
Well, see now you're numb to it, so you're getting
because it's the normal. It's the new normal.
I know, but should it be is the question.
Well, yeah, because it's across baseball. It's just they all push themselves too hard. Yeah, they all push themselves too hard.
Well, that was a rhetorical question. It's not to this extent because look at no team dealt with what the Yankees dealt with last year. Nobody had 30 guys on the IL.
I agree.
That was obscene. And they made changes to their training staff because guys lost their jobs because of it.
And obviously they just signed a bunch of injury-prone guys because they made changes and they're still getting hurt. When you like right now, I mean, look at the body types that they have here.
By the way, did you even mention Gary Sanchez in that list too, who's also been ridiculously injury prone?
Yeah, I think so. I think I said that because he gets hurt.
There's so many guys.
He misses a month and a half to 2 months every year.
Right. Yeah.
And Tanaka's going to miss 5 starts. Like it just that's the normal. And I just feel like that's what baseball is now because all these teams, they have their teams push themselves too hard. And you have people like Aaron Judge, who's made out of stone, and Stanton, who's made out of stone. They don't have enough soft muscle to not pull all the time. Right. Like you can't get it's tough to be in that kind of shape and not pull stuff.
I am so tired every preseason of seeing these stupid fucking videos of Yankee players swinging a giant sledgehammer at a tire. Why don't you stretch? How about doing some fucking stretching?
Yoga's important.
Get limber. Make your body limber.
Work on your forearms, work on your hips, work on your trunk, core.
I have always said that I believe Christian Yelich has the perfect baseball. I think Christian Yelich is built for baseball.
I think he's built for short-term baseball.
Lean.
He needs to get. He's gonna lose his speed faster.
But I believe though, if you look at his body type, I think his body type, even a guy like a Mookie Betts, those are to me baseball types with longevity.
Well, yeah, Mookie Betts looks like he's flexible as hell.
And guys who are less prone to injury. I'm sorry, but when you look at Aaron Judge and you look at Giancarlo Stanton, great.
Best player in baseball, Mike Trout, gets hurt every year.
He does get hurt every
hamstring,
year. He's chiseled. He's chiseled. Yeah, he's a big guy. Still doesn't prevent him from winning MVP awards, but yeah, he's a big.
All the numbers that he puts up. But
big guy.
But you look at people like who were there for long periods of time. David Ortiz didn't miss much time throughout his career. Miguel Cabrera throughout his long time didn't miss much time throughout his career. You have these big, huge guys who weren't like cut, but could still mash.
Yeah. Well, like you said, the soft muscle is. I mean,
you don't have to be like Cecil Fielder.
So I was gonna say Cecil Fielder.
Yeah, he was a big fat guy, but like you could also people like Darryl Strawberry. He wasn't jacked, but he was quick. He worked on the right muscles.
Strawberry had another great
twitch muscles.
body.
Yeah. Him, Eric Davis. Eric Davis got hurt a lot. Even Ken Griffey Jr. He was he wasn't like cut, but he was kind of that in between.
Yeah.
And even Barry Bonds towards the end of his career, he was jacked, but that was due to steroids. So
yeah,
but he was a fitness freak, and on top of that, he used to do fitness like yoga and everything. He would do all the stuff. So
no, that's not to say that if you're athletic too, because look at you mentioned the guy Jacoby Ellsbury, who is extremely fit and isn't jacked by any stretch, but hasn't seen a baseball field in like 2 years.
Yeah,
I mean, so
that also I think is because he's a wuss.
Well,
there's a wuss factor in injuries, like the Carl Pavano. There's certain injuries if you get hurt like that. I was talking with my son the other day. I'll give you an instance. Jammed his thumb playing basketball, and we were playing. And,
we've all been there.
And he jammed his thumb, and it hurt. And I understood. And I was like, all right, we'll stop. Sure. Go inside and we'll ice. We'll relax. And then, game time started getting ready. He didn't want to practice on the Wednesday because he heard it on Monday or Tuesday. So he didn't want to practice, but he came and he just worked on dribbling with his right hand and doing some. But he still used his left a little bit on the side where he was just kind of working by himself while we were going through practice. Yeah. And then I was like, all right, he missed practice. Let's see how his thumb feels the next day. Thumb felt okay, but still he didn't feel like it was good enough to play in the game. So I gave him the talk and I said, just want to let you know, sometimes you have to play through injuries to support your team. Mm-hmm. Everybody gets hurt. It's just a matter if you can play through it or not. Felt like he couldn't play through it. It's like, all right, fine. Got to the game. He was going through the layup lines with us and everything like that. Seemed to be okay. Didn't play in the game. Next day, he was like, I don't know if I can play. And next morning. And I was like, I don't care what you say. You're playing tonight. Mm-hmm. Like, that's it. And then, so we got through that. He played okay, but he was really rusty. So his shot was way off, right? So that's going to happen. We're done. Well, then it came yesterday. His thumb's been feeling better. He went out, jammed his thumb, came running in, and was like, oh, my thumb, it hurts so bad. I'm like, you're being a wuss. And he's like, what? I'm not. This hurts really bad. I'm like, stop. You're being a wuss, and go out there and play with your friend. He's like, no, it really. I'm like, your thumb is fine. Go out there and play with your friend. Dribble with your right hand and shoot with your right hand. Don't use your left. If it bothers you that much, don't use your left. Get good at your right. Yeah. He went back out there. 5 minutes later, he was shooting with his left hand again. So like it's the thing, like you got to get over the wuss factor. It was something that everybody has to do. They all have to man up, sack up, and get in there. I got hit in the eye with a baseball sliding into third. Got taken away to the hospital. I played the next game as a DH with my left eye kind of swollen, not shut, but it was swollen. And I just opened my stance up a little bit more so I could use my right eye better. And I still did okay. I didn't hurt the team. I helped the team. That's just what you need to do sometimes. You need to step up when you're injured. You hurt your ankle. You tape it up. You get back out there as long as you're not hurting the team. Yeah. That's my feeling on it. So, and that's the thing with certain players in the leagues. You got to sack up. Tape it, get out there, and play. I mean, I don't want to play for the team.
I don't think there's anything Luis Severino could have taped in this case, but,
No, that's different. Like, he obviously needed surgery.
Right.
Like, that's a different story. But, like, people like Ellsbury, sack up. Come on. Stop being a wuss.
The question that you have,
I believe Stanton last year, a big-time wuss.
I think the question that you have with Severino's injury, though,
I think Sanchez sometimes big time wuss.
Yeah, I think with Severino, though, the question is, could they have identified it earlier, like back in October,
Probably.
gotten him surgery months ago, and then he would have been actually ready for the start of the 2021 season.
You can't. I mean,
That's
what can you do?
That's the question, because now you're losing him for a year and a half, and that sucks.
He'll come back next year, and it'll be a huge lift.
And I'll tell you what, that contract that he signed, boy, he's the one making out on it. 4 years and $40 million. He's barely had to pitch during it. Yeah. I'm sure. Listen, I'm not blaming. I know the guy didn't want it this way. We all know that.
2.5 years. It'll be fine.
But
long term, it'll be fine. Short term, it sucks.
He didn't want this. We all know that. But unfortunately, this is what's happening. So I don't know. What bothers me most about this is it just seems like
I think the worst contract is Hicks, because he's very injury prone.
It's a bad contract. First of all, if that contract had been 5 years, $50 million, that would have been acceptable. 7, there was no reason to tack on 2 more years at $10 million each. Why?
So he's already injury prone.
Why? Like, how did he even earn that contract? I'm sorry. He's just not that. I'm sorry. I still think Aaron Hicks is an average player. I'll continue to say that. I'm not going to change my
stance. He's above average defender, but he's an average to below average offensive player.
I just think he is an overall average player.
If you take his injuries into account, he's below average.
So if you go by what you just said, he's an above average defender but below average hitter.
I would say he's almost like an all-star defender. He's a very good defender.
Okay. But even still, I still believe he is at best an average baseball player, and you gave him 7 years and $70 million.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I guess that actually,
it's probably what the contract.
If you look at the going rate for an average baseball player, though, that's probably on par contract-wise.
Shouldn't give him 7 years, though.
No, there was no reason to give him 7 years. No. 7-year contracts are not just doled out these days anymore. Like, people are pretty frugal about that. But I mean, unless you're a guy like Garrett Cole who's going to demand that kind of, because that's what the market dictates. Right. But there was no market for Aaron Hicks to get 7 years and $70 million. You set that market.
Garrett Cole's a little bit different. He's
Cy Young candidate. But here's the thing. Listen, as a Yankee fan, this is what's frustrating. It now seems like for the second year in a row, the theme of this Yankee team is injuries. That's something we were all hoping to push past.
Next man up
in this 2020 season, and now the next man up theme is the same theme as last year. That's not what you wanted at all.
As what Joe Girardi says.
Joe would say, it's not what you want. It really isn't what you want. It's just depressing, and it's already casting a little bit of a cloud over this season for me. But
we have 3 people watching right now. I don't know if there's anybody that wants to talk about anything else. Anything baseball, NBA, anything related at all. Go ahead and sound off in the comments, and we'll let you know. If you haven't, go ahead and like this video and share it. Maybe, I don't know, get crazy with it, because I think we're pretty much. I mean, we don't have much else to talk about.
Let's see. We covered the coronavirus.
We did.
We got a little bit of NBA.
You know what I want to know? MLB. I heard that there's some kind of corona ad that is about the coronavirus or something.
What?
Yeah.
Come on.
Like, they did something. Faces criminals over ill-timed marketing campaign.
Yeah, that would be in poor taste. People are dying. But the only other thing that's in poor taste is Corona beer.
Yeah, let me see. I'm gonna see what this says. I'm gonna watch a video. Hold on.
It seems like a funny.
What's in a name? A whole lot of controversy, obviously. The beer maker Corona says it will continue with its marketing campaign for its new Corona hard seltzer, although so many folks are not happy about it. So here's the buzz. The company posted this brand new ad on social media showing 4 cans of the seltzer on a beach with the wording, quote, coming ashore soon. But some are criticizing the decision, saying it's just bad timing due to the coronavirus outbreak. Now, the company says it empathizes with those who have been impacted by this virus, but there is no link between the virus and their business. Also trending this morning, I've got
you know what?
Ladies, are you considering popping the question tomorrow?
Oh, that's stupid. I don't want to do that.
I'll give Corona a pass on that one because, listen.
That was dumb.
I mean, look, that's a look at their beer. Look how they market. Every commercial that they have usually takes place on a beach. So of course they're going to use a beach pun in there.
And it's set on the beach.
I'm not going to be. That's a you're grabbing for straws there.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking to. You know what? If you want to talk about something, don't know why I have been so. Maybe it's because I want to.
Are you nervous with Bob Iger?
No, but I'm curious about why he stepped out. Well, you know what? Actually, if you go by what he said,
I understand. I mean, he said he's been kind of hinting at it for a while.
He's been hinting at it for a while. He's done a good. Listen, I believe
he was the CEO of Disney. I just to let you guys know about.
He's in his 60s. I think he just wants to step more into, like you said, a creative role. I didn't want to read too much into it. It sounded like a guy who knew exactly what he wanted to do, and there was nobody was forcing him.
It's more of like the transition to Chapek or whatever his last name is. That I don't know much about. I know that he was kind of really involved with the streaming side of the business, which I think that they're really going to try and hyper focus on.
Yeah.
But I mean, their parks are really what drive them still.
Sure.
Their parks, their movies, and obviously the movies will get into the streaming stuff, and they have a lot of TV shows coming out and stuff like that. And it's going to be a big business, but it's just a little odd. I mean, I don't know what this guy's story is really. So it'll be interesting. I mean, Bob Iger's got amazing stories. And I think a good book that's out there about him too. And my brother's read it, and he said he loves it. But yeah, so it's
I wanted
to
bring up. Have you at all been paying attention to any of the Democratic debates? I've watched almost all of them.
No.
I have to tell you,
I hear your Republican view.
Well, okay. So again, let's just to clarify, so people out there know. Yes, I am a Republican. I am not a Trump voting Republican. I did not vote for him. I will not vote for him. I do not like Donald Trump.
For?
I do not like Mike Pence. I do not like.
You didn't vote for Mike Pence. I said, who did you vote for?
Oh, I voted for. In 2016, I proudly wrote my vote in for Governor John Kasich of Ohio because I probably for the first time in a long time I voted my conscience.
If I was a Republican, that's who I would have voted for.
And he's a good man. And I honestly don't even recognize this Republican Party right now. I think they're a bunch of fucking cowards. I really can't stand all of them. I look at guys like Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell, and I want a coronavirus in my mouth because it's just fucking disgusting. It's absolute. The Republican Party is such an abomination now, and this is not the Republican Party that I was, much more proud to vote for in my younger days. Guys like John McCain. And you know what? Yes. Did I vote for George W. Bush? Yes, I did twice. Yeah. You know what? And I loved George W. Bush. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. But this Republican Party as it stands now is just inexcusable. And I don't really believe these are not Republicans to me. This is not what this particular party was founded on. To me, these are just a bunch of opportunist assholes. Like Trump. If what's funny about Donald Trump is before he even really got serious about politics, he actually sided with people like Hillary. He actually came off more as a Democrat, but he realized when he got into the race that his only path to the White House was to be a Republican because the Republicans didn't really have anybody to throw up there. And he looked at the field and he's like, well, I can't enter the Democratic race and be a Democrat because I won't topple Hillary. My only avenue in is to be a Republican because I can trounce through these clowns here that they're throwing up. And he was right. And look what happened. But I have been paying attention to the Democratic debate because listen, I don't know if I can actually cast a ballot for a Democrat. That's still going to be a really hard thing for me to do mentally. But I have been paying a great deal of attention to these debates. And I was kind of sad to see Pete Buttigieg drop out. I kind of liked Mayor Pete a little bit. He was a very polished speaker. He presented himself really well. He's a war veteran too. I mean, he was actually, I think, a kind of a likable guy. Although I talked to some of my other friends who are Democrats, and they thought he was like a little on the robotic, even like Manchurian side. But he's out. Listen, at this point, it's gonna come down to probably Bernie and Biden.
That's about right.
The funny part is Bloomberg is probably the guy who could beat Trump at his own game, but Bloomberg just has way too much baggage.
Yeah.
Way too much baggage. He's got these NDA issues, with women who have signed these non-disclosure agreements, and the really not very timely kind of jokes that he's made, whatever he's done. The fact that he's not releasing the NDAs, And then of course you've got stop and frisk, which of course just makes him look like a horrible racist. And he's kind of admitted that it went over the top. He said it during these debates that it didn't really go as planned. I will tell you though, like, and I at first I kind of liked Elizabeth Warren a little bit, but she has been obsessed with trashing Michael Bloomberg. And she needs to like get off of that and just like stay on task, stay on the issues here.
To me, she's like the polar opposite of Trump. And I don't like that.
Well, yeah.
She's
too
crazy. She's like she gets too.
Well, I think her and Bernie are too far to the left. I like Bernie. Bernie is really, really, really far to the left.
But he's more likable.
He's more likable. But
Elizabeth Warren gets so angry.
She gets really angry at Michael Bloomberg. I mean, she spent so much time in South Carolina going after him.
I don't like the anger. In the debate before you gotta leave the emotions at the door when you're making decisions about the country.
No. Yeah, and actually, it was, as I sat there and I watched this stage of 7 people, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if any of these people are going to beat Trump because first of all, they're so consumed right now.
It's tough
with each other and trying to tear each other down. They're not. They all talk about how they are focused on getting Trump out, but I think they're really right now. They're just so concerned. Yeah, with picking each other off, and it's like you need to come at this in a much more unified front.
Yeah.
And listen, you can say whatever you want about Donald Trump, but his base, small as it may be, they are laser focused, and they love that guy, and he has an absolute core base of people who are going to vote for him in November. And
Trump is not a dumb person. He usually surrounds himself, like the core people he surrounds himself are usually smart people too. Now, they're all a little crazy, but they are smart. And that's why he's in the White House. They found a way to put fear in America, and they really focused on that. And America responded with votes for him.
I would argue that he's dumb, but
I don't think he's dumb. You don't get to where you are by being dumb. I think he makes asinine comments, but I think he does it on purpose.
Oh, if you hear some of the things he says, though,
he says stupid shit, but he says it on purpose. I think some of the time he says it on purpose, but now he's kind of almost a caricature of himself.
I don't know, but all I know is, listen, if you're the Democrats, whoever comes out of this, Super Tuesday is tomorrow. Whoever comes out of this thing, I mean, it's still not going to be determined yet. Super Tuesday will go a long way, maybe towards determined. I still think it's going to come down to Bernie and Biden. I think it's going to be a slugfest between those two.
By that.
I will too, actually, and I actually have been intrigued by this. I really have, mostly because I have. Don't get me wrong. I have concerns about both of them, Bernie or Biden, and if either of them won, because I know as a middle class person what that's going to mean for my taxes. I mean, they've both been pretty honest about what they're going to. Bernie outright said he's going to raise middle tax classes, but of course he's kind of countering it with his health care for all, saying that will reduce your medical bills and stuff like that. Which okay, great, but ultimately you're still taking money out of my paycheck, and But bottom line is, I really don't know that either of these guys, I don't know that any of these Democrats can beat him. I don't have a lot of faith right now in them. And that scares me a little because I want to actually have faith that somebody's going to get this guy out of office.
I haven't had much faith either. And it's unfortunate, but what are you going to do? I mean, there's not much you can do about it. I think we had a good candidate last time around. I don't think that she might have been the perfect candidate. But if there was ever a chance that we were going to have somebody to win, it would have been her. But the problem is that he did such a great job causing fear about things that have gone on with politics in the past. And Hillary was a longtime politician. And that was totally against her, and they figured out a way to kind of get underneath and get around.
Well,
and
and she also underestimated him, which I do not think anybody who comes out of this will.
Right? Nobody's going to underestimate him, but they just don't really have they don't have the person that can kind of keep up with this guy and the crazy stuff he says. Because if they pick Biden's going to stumble over his words in these big debates against him, and he's going to say something weird. So we're not going to really get it, and they're just going to his supporters, Trump supporters, are going to lambaste Biden after a debate if he makes any kind of verbal missteps.
Ironic that you should actually mention that, because Biden did do that, I think, just this past weekend. Yeah. He was talking to somebody.
But it'll be so hyper-focused on at that point in time with one-on-one that it's going to be...
Like, because somebody said to him, I think it was a Trump supporter. I don't know if it was a Trump supporter, but somebody said to him in like I don't know what it was. It might have been an interview or something like that. It wasn't an interview. Maybe it was a rally, or I have no idea. But somebody said something about like, well, you know, Trump's tax cuts have put more money in my paycheck, and Biden like countered it by saying, I'm going to raise your taxes. And it was like, that might not have been the best response for that. You got to look it up. It's actually on Twitter. I saw it this morning. But it came off bad. Like, it just came off bad.
Not surprised.
I mean, I know that we all know. I think
when you speak off the cuff, not everybody's an Obama.
See, I mean, listen. I'm not saying this is like a positive for Trump. As far as my paycheck goes, did I get more money in my paycheck when he started? Yes. But it was a wash because my tax return was also less. So it was a wash. It just depends on how you look at it. Like, was I happier that I had more money in my paycheck and less coming back in my tax return? I guess theoretically,
the 1%ers definitely made out during his right.
Yeah. And I'm not a 1%er, so you know, it's I don't know. It's we're fucked either way. The coronavirus is gonna kill us anyway, so who gives a shit?
But it's not Corona's fault. All right, so that's pretty much it for our show. It's pretty much our show today. We'll be back on Friday, hopefully with some more important topics to talk about. I mean, I guess Corona is very important. Coronavirus is a very important topic to talk about. We're not necessarily on this show.
Okay, so what? We mixed it up a little today. I like that.
Yeah, good.
We did a little, you know, we got some politics in there. We got healthcare in there.
Yeah, that's
some
fine.
medical.
Cool. I like it. Yeah, we talked about everything.
Told you to wash your hands, hand sanitizer.
Don't cough in people's mouths.
Cough in people's open mouths.
Don't drink out of a buffet's soup ladle. Like,
dude, that fucking guy. Please tell me that guy has been like captured and incarcerated. That is disgusting.
If you haven't seen it, go to @the_Bry_man. He posted a thing, and Frank Caliendo has a thing where he's talking as Morgan Freeman and talking about it. It's pretty funny. It's funny.
What the fuck? First of all,
guy's into a grocery store, and you know how they have like the soups and all that stuff laid out. He takes a ladle and just takes it out and ladles it right into his mouth.
But he was like really working his mouth around that spoon.
Yeah, well, I liked it. Yeah,
I mean, he was.
He's hungry.
Yeah, it's just
clearly starving.
Disgusting. Do you remember like a few months ago? I don't know. They had that kid in the grocery store who like, what do you do? Oh,
he like spit into milk or something. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Like, what the fuck is wrong with people?
Yeah, people are weird.
And then here's the other thing that bothers me about that. Okay, one, the guy is obviously a disgusting lunatic, but then two, the person on the phone capturing this. Can you fucking say something to this guy? Sir, what are you doing?
No, that won't go viral. Oh, he might have. It actually might have. He said something to him. They get right behind him. Just that would have been hilarious. Somebody walks right up behind him and goes, "Dude, what are you doing?"
I just want to know the thought process.
Like ladle soup would have gone everywhere.
What is your thought? And I'll tell. But you saw my tweet this morning, right? Like, this has now ruined me to going to the soup bar at my local Big Y, and I love the soup at Big Y. I love their lobster bisque and their clam chowder.
Get it prepackaged. Prepackaged.
See ya.
Get the prepackaged ones that they got. Yeah.
Yep. Sorry.
Although I did hear that Panera Bread is doing. You don't drink coffee anymore, but $9 a month, unlimited coffee. So if you're a Panera Bread guy, if you have a Panera Bread near you, $9 a month, free coffee, unlimited. Not free coffee because they've been paying $9 a month, but unlimited. It's a good deal.
It's a lot of coffee.
It's a good deal, though.
Yeah,
it's a good deal. All right, so that's pretty much it for our show. You can find me on Twitter at EinhornusFinkel. You can find me on Instagram at Happy McAvoy.
You can find me on Twitter at _Bry_man. Don't drink soup out of ladles in a grocery store. God damn it. God fucking damn it. What the fuck is wrong with people? Jesus.
I'm getting ready to go to my golf lesson. I got a lesson at 12 o'clock. I got to go and do some stretching before I get there because I don't want to screw up my back any more than it already is. But yeah, I'm excited.
I got
a golf lesson today. I got a golf lesson. I got a golf lesson. I consider that work.
What a life. What a fucking life. Unbelievable. Stay classy, Planet Globe. Part of the journey is the end. The end is coming soon for all of us, so, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's far off.
We're gonna be seeing Tony Stark soon.
Oh, man.
Too soon.
It's sad. It's sad. Although he did come back. He put on the suit to go to a hospital and visit kids.
Oh, did he?
Mm-hmm.
God, what a guy.
Yeah.
RDJ, he's all right.
Yeah. He'll put. I bet he puts the suit back on. I bet he comes back.
Of course he's gonna come back.
In some sort of way.
Oh, sure.
Even if it's just as him as Tony Stark, and like a Force ghost or some shit.
Yeah, right. It'll be some video recording that he did. It'll be
have him
another
popping up
recording. Then
everywhere.
they'll play it in front. You know, like they'll do it in the next Spider-Man movie, and Tom Holland will lose his shit.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's like a chip in his brain, and it's like instead of Jarvis, it's Tony.
It's Tony.
Yeah. That'd be amazing.
Of course.
All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again on Friday, and we will be back with more sports and sorts. See you then. Bye. Bye.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
Be good to one another. Wash your hands.
Sure.